All right, welcome. I'm just seeing some folks in the waiting room, so I'll let them in. Welcome. Good to see you. Come on in. Let's see. So we'll just get started. It'll just be a quiet, reflective time of processing, and feel free to use the chat. Others may join us, but we are here, and I'm so glad that you're here. All right. So you have come to an invitation of peace. I'm Molly Ovenden, and this is going to be a time of contemplative reflection and gratitude, and also a time that I get to share some poems and some paintings with you that hopefully helps bring some peace into your life and some beauty, and maybe sparks even more memories of gratitude to you. So I'm glad that we get to do this together. So I'll just invite you to take some deep breaths, maybe put your feet on the floor, and just allow yourself to be here now. And just notice, how are you here now? Is it easy to come in? Is this something that you're looking forward to because you're desperate for some more gratitude and peace in your life? Or is this feeling like it's a normal, regular flow? And just notice how you're feeling in your body. Are your breaths shallow? Are they deep? Are they struggling? Or are you able to get the breath you need and you feel connected? And as we're settling into this space, what is one thing that you feel thankful for right now? Maybe it's something that you have right in front of you. Maybe it's something that happened in your day so far or in this last season. And just hold that thing. And I'll just take a couple of breaths together here as we feel grateful. You may find that you want to say thank you out loud or write it down in a journal. Thank you for, or I am thankful for. And then picture that thing or that event that you're holding that gratitude and articulate it in words. I'm thankful for being able to go for a walk. I'm thankful for spending time with friends this afternoon. I'm thankful for how the weather has cooled down to be my favorite temperature this last week. So maybe for you, um, you're similar to me and you have that kind of surface level of here are my experiences, here are the things, the people in the front. Now I just want to invite us to go a little bit deeper. So we'll have another few moments of silence, but look at the last 24 hours and allow yourself to notice what were the things that filled you up. And just look at the last 24 hours. What brought you joy? And then I wonder if you can notice, is there a theme to what is bringing you joy? What might be a common thread that feels like each bit of joy that filled you up is connecting? So as you're seeing these moments in your mind's eye, if you'd like to share something in the chat or send me a message, you can do that, but you're welcome to just hold it to yourself as well. But as I'm reflecting on things in the last day or so that really brought me joy, it's the things that help me slow down. So I was thinking like drinking a cup of tea when it's the perfect temperature. Oh, and just savoring that. Thank you for this really good cup of tea, literally right now as well. And then I'm thinking about just spending time reading earlier today. And I just went slow and I read a bunch of poetry. And I just enjoyed not needing to be anywhere, enjoyed the invitation to just be slow, my own invitation to myself. And that felt really peaceful. So for you, maybe you noticed that it was being around people was filling you with joy. Maybe it was completing certain projects that was filling you with joy. Maybe it was moving your body. Maybe it was um, some great food experiences, or if faith is important to you, connecting with God in a way that felt really special as a pattern over and over. And then with this sense of curiosity, noticing the connections, I wonder what would it be like if we had this sense of joy and filling up and fullness and goodness from these things that we're thankful for? What would it look like if we took those into the future? Is there a way that we can imagine life with, for me, more slow moments. So just imagine, what would it look like to live that fullness more? And maybe you don't know the answer yet, and that's okay. Part of this process of contemplation is a curiosity, a willingness, a permission to notice, to ask the question and hold the question, whether it's answered or not. But there's an openness there. So take a moment to allow yourself to kind of solidify that gratitude feeling. Well, I am grateful that you are with me today, and um, I'm excited to be able to share just this moment of reflection, as well as some poems that I've written and some artwork that I've made. So we'll kind of alternate between some different poems, and I want to invite you to notice the gratitude that we began with. As you're looking at the paintings, as you're thinking about the poems, what what's coming to mind for you? Are there memories or longings or curiosities that are being stirred up? And something that I've noticed as being a writer and artist is that often we have, as humans, we have this, and I've noticed it with people who have talked to me about how they experience my artwork and how they experience my poetry. So often, as humans, we kind of go into the situation of very black and white. I'm going to like this painting if I get it, or I'm just not going to like it. And I look at it and I like it. So then I look at it for maybe a little bit longer, but then I move on. If I don't like it, I just move on. And the same with poetry. Often people have this idea of what a poem is from their school experience. Most people's school experiences with poetry aren't the best in what I've heard them. And I agree. Some of my experiences were not the best. But I wonder if instead of saying, "Oh, I don't like poetry," or "I don't get it, so I don't like it," what if you allow your curiosity, your way that you've been showing up in gratitude just in these moments, what if you allow that way of listening, that way of experiencing art and poetry? What if you let that out? I just wonder how it might change. And I don't need you to love poetry or art or my poetry or my art, but I wonder if you allow yourself that noticing with curiosity and gratitude how you might experience something new in yourself as you look at the art and as you hear the poem. So I'll start with first a piece of art. And I will do my best to show this, but in linked in the recording, I'll send links to be able to see better photos if it's not coming clearly through here. But I want to share with you this first painting that's called Yellow, You Get Me. And here it is. Let's see if I can catch it. Probably have to do an update to make the blur completely go away, but anyway, Yellow, You Get Me. And it's an acrylic painting. It's 9 by 11 inches. And something that I really love, let's see if we can get that closer. Something I really love about this painting is the fact that it's yellow. I just really love yellow, and I tend to say that all the colors are my favorite, but I think yellow might be my like real actual favorite. I just think it's so happy, and there's so many different types of yellow. Um, and the title has got its meaning from just the joy and triumphant light and fun of yellow. And I want to be joyful and triumphant and light and fun. And so I just feel like yellow understands who I am and who I hope to be. And I hope that I can share that encouragement and lightness and joy and triumph and fun when people see this painting. So I'll hold it here, and I have a little poem that I have written to go with this as well. So I wonder what you notice as you listen. Yellow, you get me. In a world where lonely curls cozy and at home, feigning acceptance when we all feel alone. In a world where risking honest words aloud screams retreating obscurity when we all feel misunderstood. It's a smile, it's a nod, it's a hello, each today that dulls in streaks of gray. It's a welcome home greeting of gratitude and joyous relief. Ah, yellow, you get me. Is there a word or phrase that stood out to you? If so, be curious. I wonder why this stood out to me. And for me, even though I wrote this, for me, the line, "We all feel misunderstood," stands out to me today. So I wonder why. And as I think about the people that I spend time with who understand me, that sensation of the triumph and the excitement and the joy just resonates. And I feel like, ah, oh, you get me, friend. Yellow, you get me. So that is one piece. And feel free to write anything in the chat if you want, but also I'm happy just to read to you. So the next painting is called Sunshine and Sherbet. This is in acrylic as well. There, I think it kind of, if I put my face in, then it will be clearer. But something I really love about this painting is how gentle and fun it is. I love how it's like framed on this angle. I can't do it backwards. This how it's on an angle. I remember choosing to frame a couple pieces on this angle, and it was such a huge move for me as an artist because I tend to use this plastic scraper with the acrylic paint, and I kind of go top to bottom, left to right in vertical or horizontal. So it would have kind of been like that as I painted it. And so, holy cow, to frame it like diagonally like that on such an angle, it just felt, oh, really scary. And then once I was finally did it, these huge, scary decisions as an artist that I have learned to make, it's so funny how intense they feel, but then it felt really peaceful after. And like, oh, well, it has to be like this because look at all the movement that's now there that it wouldn't have been there if it was just like this. But it creates that. And the meaning behind Sunshine and Sherbet is when I look at this painting, I just see this like fun summer day of pastel colors and quality time. It's like the ideal day of relaxed summer gentleness, outside time with friends, family, all the people that you love. They're all here. It feels sunny and it feels warm. It doesn't feel too hot. It's sweet, like a cold cup of icy sherbet, just citrusy, yeah, joy, frozen and just refreshing. And so I wrote a poem to go with this painting that captures a bit of this sensation for me. So I wonder what it brings up for you. Sunshine and Sherbet. Trampoline imaginings, free. Those summer days way before I reached my teens. Bouncing to fly high. Those summer dreams way before youth washed away. June till August, scheming, please. Those summer ice creams, long walks on the beach, hiking trails through leafy trees, swimming with lake fish or salty creatures from the sea. Tender dancing and glee, those summer firefly nights, way before autumn beckons. It's sunshine and sherbet memories to create for me. So that's sunshine and sherbet. I wonder what stood out to you. It's neat. To me, it's just really like hitting because as we're here together, it's August 30th. And so it's the end. It's the end of summer. It's the end of sunshine. And just the way that being from northern Minnesota, summers are super short. Yeah, yikes. It's so it's so short. And to be able to, like, as a kid, not want to go back to school, and you're like, how can I make the summer last longer? And I was just talking with a neighbor kid, and he was riding his scooter, and he was like, "Oh, we go back to school on Monday and like get our lunch codes sorted out and that kind of stuff." And then he was like, "Then Tuesday, going back to jail. Oh, I hate school." And it was just like that mentality of letting the summer just last forever, that just really struck me. And like, yeah, that's that's a big feeling. Hmm. So then we're carrying on, holding on to this summer joy with this next painting, which is called Turquoise Sunshine. It's been raining most of today here in northern England, and it's been so beautiful and sunny for like months, and very oddly sunny. It's supposed to rain a lot here. And when Max and I have just been back here for a little over a year, and it's just been glorious sunshine for so much of the time we've been back. And earlier this week, I looked at the 10-day weather forecast, and all the next 10 days said rain. And so I just screenshotted it and I said, "This is the England we know and love." And so I'm like, let's think about sunshine. So this is Turquoise Sunshine. Let's see if I'm gonna master this. I'll tell you what. But this is Turquoise Sunshine. It's again, I tend to work in acrylic with this type of work. It's 9 by 11, so you can kind of see with my hands how big it is. And just what I was talking about, like how it got its title, is I just again love this angle of the angle of this, okay, of the, hold still, Molly, you're doing great. There. Okay. Um, the angle of this grapes just kind of lends itself to this so much movement, and it's really slight, but again, putting it on that angle, I just felt like it did so much for me. And it's that gentle sort of impression that I feel on a cool summer day, how the light just kind of streams through the shade of like an old tree. And it's just big and leafy, and the light changes, and so do the colors and the leaves. And I just loved that warmth. It felt like lying on my back and just looking up at the sky and the warm yellow sunshine and the white clouds, and just the way um that the leaves just kind of layer and change the greenery. And something that I really just love about this is again just like the movement, and I love the white particularly in the paint because um it's like little puffs of cloud. Um and it also feels really clean. There's some like very clear spots of white in the middle, and next to the right here, and in that middle bit, and then up here there's just some real clean chunks of white, which is kind of fun because usually white gets really muddied, so that just felt like really special to have just that. Um, Also, as yellow is basically my favorite color, it's got yellow, so that's a highlight. And it it's mostly like a lemon yellow in this piece, but right here is like an egg yolk yellow, and I love how that just kind of like sneaked in there. So it just makes me happy. So this is the poem Turquoise Sunshine. I wonder if it sounds like your summers or the sunshine you've experienced. Sun cream smeared, check. Beach lounger secured, check. Snazziest sunglasses donned? Check. Eyes closed in sunshine, imagination dreaming peace, deep breaths inhaled, a pause and cleansing breaths released. Sun hat, shading perfection, cool breeze, gentle direction. Camera ready? Indeed. With views sans obstruction. A moment by the water could be turquoise by the sea or simply an afternoon near my neighborhood pond. Just sunshine and you and me. So that's turquoise sunshine. I'll show you two more paintings and then I'll just read you some poems. And we'll also come back to some gratitude. This piece is called Minty Mud Cake. And it is about 5.5 by 6 inches. The scrape itself, they're all about 3 by 3 inches. Love that texture down there. So minty mud cake, I just thought it looked, especially with that lift texture, thought it looked like cake with mint frosting, like chocolate cake. And this just feels like frosting that I want to lick. It makes my mouth kind of shiver with this cocoa richness and sugary goodness. And also, I don't know if you had these, but I remember getting those like chocolate mints from a fancy restaurant that had the green shiny foil. That makes me think of this, and it has like a line of green mint through it. Um, but then also it reminds me of playing in the mud after the rain when you see the sky clear up through the trees. So it's like you're covered in mud, everything's splashed, but then the light starts coming through again after the big rain. And there's so many details in this. Normally I like having lots of these kind of blocks of scrapes and texture together, but I feel like especially, and it's tricky to show it fully on the camera, but this has so much texture and blending and lines through it. And I feel like it can really hold its own. Some of the squares that I paint need to really be partnered, but this, when I look at it, I just see that it's really good at being independent, and the brown is just such a great chocolatey color. And I want to eat it. I wish I had chocolate cake. I have carrot cake for later, which I'm going to enjoy, but this makes me want to eat chocolate cake. And here is a little poem that I entered into a contest actually, in a funny poem contest, and I got an honorable mention. So thank you very much. This is Minty Mud Cake. On the menu today, a fancy cake, homemade, a slice for all the guests to devour in cocoa paradise, in their fancy dresses, slurping bone china cups of black tea. Perfect match for this chocolatey cake of mint madness, invigorating the senses. What? Why does it taste of mud? Well, I'm 5 and I made this for you. Remember the rain last night? So this is minty mud cake. Mmm, delish. And then this last painting that I'll share with you today is called Milky Way Evening in um ooh, I just gave a thumbs up to myself. That's nice. Oh, I love technology. Milky Way Evening in lilac and emerald green. And really, like, how did it get its title? Uh, there we go. I like to be honest with people when I talk about my art. Generally, I like to be honest as a human, but it also reveals more about my personality. And when I share these descriptions, I think sometimes I get too clever, like, and just make stuff up that sounds fancy or something. Um, but when I share the meaning, it can be more profound than it is. But the reality of this piece, Milky Way Evening in lilac and emerald green, I just thought it sounded cool. I liked the vowel rhyming sounds of evening and green. And I liked that the dominant colors for this piece for me were that lilac purple and then this darker emerald green. And I love how the purple really is so gentle in how it's kind of lays in there, but it feels really powerful in just this one bit. And I mean, like how it at the bottom here lifts as well and squelches through. I just think that texture is really neat. So this is the poem that I wrote to go with this painting. Milky Way evening in lilac and emerald green. I planned for stargazing, but also to catch your eye, to spin and twirl in freedom, floating betwixt stardust, dreaming of your lips and drifting with gravity toward reality into sanguine abyss. So that's that piece. Very outside, very happy, summery pieces for me. I wonder, as we think about the things that we started feeling grateful for, and we started being curious about the threads, the common moments throughout the day, was there anything that struck you as you listened, as you looked, that might fit with that same common thread? Mm. Phrase I've been finding helpful and noticing overall themes in my life is that beauty is an arrow of hope that points to peace. And just noticing when I spend time in nature, when I spend time creating art of all kinds that I share or that I keep to myself, it feels hopeful to create something or to capture something that's been created. And and there's peace when we have hope. And when we allow ourselves to slow down and appreciate beauty, to create and share beauty with others, there's hope there. There's peace there. And so, although my work is as a writer and artist, what I want and why I am hosting this is literally to invite you into more peace, because I've experienced in my life that beauty is an arrow of hope that points to peace. And so I just want to share things that I find beautiful and hope that you feel that hope and that peace and that lightness and encouragement too. So I'm glad that you've taken time to join me today. I have ready some poems already that match with my paintings, but I would love to read um, just a couple of more poems from each of my collections, my poems for my people. Very excited because my paperback books are now available. They exist, which is very fun. I'm loving the colors. Loving that the rainbow collection that I'm working on putting together is actually coming together. It is delightful. It's so very, very fun. So from the Red Book, Poems for My People, Community Volume 1 through 5, I'll read a poem from each of them. So this collection started as me going into public places with my typewriter and writing poems for people on the spot at their request. And the majority of these poems in each of these books have been written in a live setting. And of those, they're for individual people. And I didn't think, like, I knew that this was cool since I was a kid, but I didn't know that other people would have it resonate so much as it has. So I thought I would just try it out, and like making a couple books of 100 poems felt like that's going to take me years. So I'll just aim for that. Well, I have 5 books out, and I have a couple others that are finished and on their way to be finished. I have written several hundred poems just in a couple of years, and it is such a delight and such a privilege to hold space for people. This sacred interaction of collaborating when I say, "What do you want your poem to be about?" And then you request it and you tell me, and it's beautiful. It's such a privilege. And then I create something to capture the moment that we've shared, which it's called Poems for My People, because once I write you a poem, you are for sure my people. So from the Red Book, I will read. Let's see. I'll read this. It's called. Um, I'll read it and then I'll give you a little insight into who I wrote it for. I'm gonna. I'm not gonna give you up. I'm gonna lift you up so you can jump and dance, so you can touch the skies. I'm not gonna give you up. I'm gonna dance with you. I'm gonna cartwheel. I'm gonna noodle worm. I'm gonna front flip, back flip, and fly so high. I'm not gonna give you up. I'm gonna touch the skies and trampoline with you even taller, even higher. I'm gonna sing to you, and it's gonna be good. So this was a little kid who loved music and rapping and dancing, and he was wiggle bopping all over the place. And it was so fun to like invite him to say what he wanted his poem to be about, which was like dancing and just he loved there's this song that I think, is it the Black Eyed Peas? I don't remember if that was right, but it's I'm not gonna give you up. I'm not gonna let you down. Something like that. So that's the song that he really loved. I can't remember who it's by, but so that I'm gonna was kind of inspiration as he was just wiggling around singing that song and dancing. It was so good. And he didn't really know what to expect, but I remember just seeing his little face. Oh, Rick Astley from way back. Okay. Well, it was good. And he He was singing me this song and it was great. So, um, I yeah, I just remember his face, like his whole body stopped wiggling when he was like listening to this poem. And it was just such a treat to get to share with him. So I tend to, in these first two books, volumes one and two, the red and the orange, they're written in coffee shops, in kind of pub cidery places, food pantries, and just kind of community areas where there's going to be a lot of different kinds of people around. And so each of these are really just community, just people that are around. And I love the cross section of people that I get to connect with when I write poems, including people who love frogs and teaching people about frogs and dedicate their lives to outdoor education, like this person who wanted a poem about frogs. And I had to ask a lot of questions to be able to understand what it was exactly that they loved. So this this is an outdoor educator's heart. Um, I hope in reflected in this ode to frogs. To the humble, ribbiting frog, you can hop along logs. You can climb trees up high. You can leap to swim in waters below. You bring a smile to my face as I teach others your ways. To the humble hopping frog, you are numerous to start. Your life beginning as an egg, you grow to wiggle till watery eyes emerge. Your body transforms from fish-like movements to soon sprouting legs, then losing tail. You breathe through your skin, holding still, always in motion. You're always singing my own environmental songs. You're croaking in spring mornings, the best alarm for awakening. You are my history and our future, my motivation to educate young ones, bringing my childhood delights to others' intriguing hearts and minds. To the humble, beloved frog, may you, in all your varieties, not only survive, but for generations overcome and thrive. It's is really fun to write about things that I would never write about myself. And that's a privilege to create this like window into people's lives and enjoyment that they have about different things. And I love just asking them curious questions. I never feel like disgusted, like, oh, why do you like frogs? But I'm like, why do you like frogs? Like, what is it? Like, you clearly really like them. And so it's just such a neat conversation to have. Now, this third collection, the Yellow Book, Poems from My People, Community, Volume 3, as per the paintings that I shared with you, you can probably imagine that I quite like this collection because it is yellow and it is happy color. One of the things that is special about this one is that it was only written at one coffee shop called Yellow Bike Coffee. So I wrote about 70 poems for individual people who requested them while I was in the coffee shop. But then I also wrote poems about the environment and about kind of the aesthetic and the history and the what it means to be yellow bite coffee. And they're in Duluth, Minnesota, and Shannon Cornelius is the owner, and she was such a huge advocate and was delighted to have me as poet in residence for about 2 years. in her coffee shops writing poems. And so there's a bunch of poems um, in Yellow Bite Coffee in the red and the orange book, but this one I thought, oh, it's yellow. And there's Yellow Bike I have to do too. And then I have to just do poems for them. And the so there's three sections. So the first is the normal writing poems for people at their request. The second is writing poems about like what I'm observing being there. And the third section, something that I do almost every single session before I write poems in a space, is I just type what I call like a prayer poem. So for me, faith is important to me, and I connect with God through nature, and I also connect with God through words. And so I kind of just do in a way, a rough draft thought, brain dump prayer on the page, and I just type it out. And I included all of the prayer poems that I have written in that location in this book. And so it's a very vulnerable collection for me because um, I have opinions about how I come across maybe as like whiny, lacking confidence. Just it's very vulnerable. And in the same way, I hope that however people experience faith, but also however people experience like working with the muse and finding inspiration. I hope that my vulnerability and the reality of like, yeah, I've done it before, but can I do it again today? I don't know. I'm really tired. I don't know if is the well gonna run dry? Can I do it? And but it's just been fun to be able to be brave and just keep showing up and be committed to creativity. So that's a little bit more about this one. Um, but there there was a poem I wrote for someone who had a ring that was really special to her, an emerald ring. And so that's what this poem is about. It's called Upon an Emerald. Upon an emerald, to stand firm, leading one's life to serve within a fiery commitment burns, palms up, receiving gifts of learning, beholding beauty in forests of green, wandering, galloping, stalking, feathering among the boughs of firs and between cedared rows of magic bursting. Enraptured by gentled edges, rough stones, shrouded in layered meaning, catching joy around my finger, posing steady, gazing upon mountains, prayerful dreams, rhythmic breathing, upon a stony, lush emerald path, stepping, adjusting, balancing, retreating with arms linked in community, built upon this rock, this life, leading. That was Upon an Emerald. So I'll share two more poems with you from the Green Book. I wrote these at the same time that I was writing the poems in the Yellow Book, but at all the other places. So some of these were kind of community parties. Some of it was like the cidery places. Some of it was the food pantries. Some of it was um, my my church community supports the universities locally by hosting um, a study session during like finals week. And so I went with my typewriter as one of the ways to provide study relief by writing poems for them. So that was really fun. I love talking with 18 to 25-year-olds. Super fun. And I was just thinking, as we are beginning the school year, there is one that if I can think of it, that might be a fun one to read. I get to it. Okay. Um, I can't find it for the moment, so instead I'm going to read this one called Invitational Living. And here we go. So the thing that I love about this is often as poets we write what our thoughts are. And what I practice when I write poems for people is what your thoughts are, like you who request, and just really trying to practice that. So this is about a celebration of yeah, having been together for a long time. So this is invitational living. May history repeat itself of all those times saying yes. May our legs be prone to wander together through countrysides of poppies and farmyards, exploring whose feet upon these rolling hills have long trod. May history repeat itself of these 16 years of open doors, of bringing life together in tears, of bringing life together in cheers, of these 16 years of future, what's in store? An invitation to forever side by side. May history repeat itself of these interconnected lives. May our hearts be forever linked to explore the great beyond with love in our pockets as confetti, greeting the days and all of our new friends with widening smiles, all in the curiosity of a small child. May history repeat itself, an invitation of these two lives combined. May we live long in health. May our memories be teeming in wealth. May we always invite others around this table of our hearts. May history repeat itself, yours and mine. And then the fifth one. So I think I said this in the green one, these were all the poems written at the same time when I was writing in Yellow Bike, so all the other places. And as I published this and kind of formatted, put it together as I was making home again in England, the sense of place really struck me as a theme. So, as a way to kind of have order to the sense of place, I put all the poems in alphabetical order, which I don't normally do that, but by the title. So it was just is interesting, like little details like that don't necessarily mean much to the reader, but as I'm creating it, it's a way that I'm creating a sense of beauty that feels hopeful and peaceful for me as I'm curating a collection. Um, and so then this fifth book, which I just love how this blue has come out. It is so pretty. This is Poems from My People Community Volume 5. And this is a collection, my friends and family collection. So it's very personal because a lot, not all, but a lot of the people in here, I know them. So when I read some of these things again, it's a very personal connection. Not all of them, because some of the poems that I wrote are for the guests of friends who hosted parties or the family members of friends of mine. So there's a lot of people that I don't know personally, but all of these poems have a friend slash family member connection. So it's just been just a really interesting thing as I go back and revisit the poems, what I've been noticing. So let me see. Um, I'm gonna do Tomorrow's waves. Tomorrow's waves. Crystal waters placid, upon you we wait. For years we've cruised with sails open wide, the days long and steady with pride. With you, hand in hand, always ready. Days both in peace, in turmoil, waves deep and splashing our lives. We watch you grow, we watch you become, we watch you enraptured. Years have felt at times overboard, seasons passed us, senseless, and horizons kept us focused and straight with keenly bright eyes. No maps for this course. There aren't any accurate, none enough to depict the ways to go with sputtering wakes of wisdom. We glide, standing to seek out a safe place to land, though not for a while. I'd like to cut through the waves, sailing for miles and miles. I look back with grins of confidence, of well-dones, and yet still, for more, I long. Much more ahead with wind at my back and clear-skied horizons. It beckons my heart. It beckons. So that was for someone who just grew up sailing and shared that with their family, and now they have grandchildren. So it's just looking at the generations of how sailing the waters has played into them. So lots of poems that I hope feel beautiful and hopeful and peaceful and connect in some way to that feeling of gratitude we started with. So I want to end our time together today by holding space for gratitude again. So let's just re-ground ourselves, come back into this place of stillness, and take a couple of deep breaths. Maybe roll your shoulders if you need to, and just come back. Noticing how you're coming back after experiencing this. Think back on the different poems, the paintings. Is there one that stood out to you, that resonated? No need to pressure to choose anything, but just notice. Now remember what you started out feeling thankful for. As you remember that and notice what stood out, is there a connection? No need to force one, but be curious. How could you move forward with that gratitude, with any possible connections? And then I want to invite you to simply feel the gratitude and express it in this moment, however feels right. Maybe it's out loud, maybe it's writing something down, maybe it's simply holding this moment. So I'll be quiet and still here for a few moments. Well, thank you so much for responding yes to this invitation to peace and spending time with me. Be happy to answer any questions. If you have them, you can put them in the chat. But I'll also be including information about finding out more about my books and paintings in the description of this video and follow-up emails. So you're welcome to share anything then, but I am so grateful that you're here with me. So thank you. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and may you continue to receive the invitation to peace and RSVP yes to that every day. Thank you. Bye bye.